What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin Bees. I am a wife, a mom, a military veteran, and I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out, and now I'm using all of my social media platforms to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by the reps. If you're brand new, what's up? And thanks for being here. If you have been here for a while, hello. So excited that you guys are here, by the way. We are pink again, and I don't know, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And today we're going to add on to this playlist that I am creating for MLM coaches. And we are going to react to Justin Prince and also Ray Higdon together in one live. Whatever you are thinking right now, I probably am too. Yeah. So if you would like to follow me on social media, I always do that every single time, because it's mirrored anyways. There's my social media handles. I have merch. I have a podcast that has 4 seasons that also has a lot of my MLM content. I left it on there for a reason. Yeah, to show the journey. I think that's important to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. It is kind of a long one. It's about 30 minutes, so who knows with the commentary and all of that stuff. But drop your commentary below. Keep it respectful. And let's get this thing going.
What's up? What's up? Man, I'm super fired up for you guys to be able to hear this interview with my man, Ray Higdon. Ray is one of the best in the world at what he does. Truly one of the best trainers in the entire world of direct sales and network marketing. And let's see if I can get him on here. And let's see. You're going to love this interview. Let me just make sure I can get him on here. So fired up to be able to have him. He's requesting right here. Here we go.
For you guys to be able to get the value that Ray offers to so many people. So
I don't know what happened to the sound. It sounds like he's underwater. We're just going to keep it going.
Let's see if this will let him on here. All right.
What's up?
Good morning. Thanks so much for jumping on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
excited to be on here.
So I'm really fired up to do this with you. I appreciate you taking the effort. You know, to me, you're one of the very best in the world at what you do. Whenever you get around people that are like, they're the top 1 or 2% of what they do. In your case, maybe the top 1 or 2 in the world of what they do. Those are people who kind of get into their mind a little bit and figure out what they're doing. I know you have an event at the end of next month with Rake Makers Live. It's both a live event, but then also a virtual event. So anyone that wants to, be part of it can be part of it. And I'm actually going to, I have the honor to be able to come speak with you and your wife and some of your amazing guests. I'm really honored and fired up to be able to do that.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that and why people should be there and what they'll learn and just kind of what the experience is going to be. But I want to start with this. It's a question I've been wanting to ask you. So I want to talk about just why for you, because you're in a very public space. You're having to put yourself out on social media. You're having to be consistent. I'm sure there's days where you're like, I don't want to be consistent today, and you still have to show up and do your thing. And I think a lot of people listening are building online businesses and they're learning to make money online and so on. So you have to have some deep rooted whys. It can't just be, I want to make some money. Like, it's got to be deeper than that, because at some point in your case, you make money and now what? What's the deeper reason? So
right.
Before he dives into this part, I want to talk about whys and in my opinion, why that's such a big thing in MLM. And to put it simply, I think that it's just how they manipulate people to stick around. And what I mean by that is when somebody is questioning what they're participating in, I'm not really sure this is where I'm supposed to be, what I want to be doing, that type of thing. That leader typically is going to remind them of their why. Well, aren't you doing this for your kids? Aren't you doing this, because you want to have that extra money for whatever? And in my opinion, it's one example of manipulation. So I love that we're starting off strong. Yeah.
Us through some of your reasons, your whys. Like, why do you do what you do?
Yeah. Oh, good question. Good question. So yeah, I'll tell you in the beginning, it was about money because I was broke. I'd lost it all. And so, after the real estate market crash, I was in foreclosure. I'd, just been, wiped out, and I needed to make money. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was sick of looking at my bills and just, being stressed out. And then, you get to a point where you're like,
see Aaliyah's face on my shirt. That's how I feel about this interview so far.
oh, okay, I can pay my bills now. Like, oh, all right. What's next? And what I realized, and it's changed dimensionally over the years, is what I realized is that I really felt good helping people. And I felt good, seeing people have a breakthrough, or, speaking or training, coaching, et cetera. And so I tell people, I know, I guess people don't use this term a whole lot, but everything I do selfishly because it makes me feel good. And
and there you have it. There you have it, everybody. I don't even have anything to say to that.
And so there's two kind of, places that keep me going. And that's one, me helping others and me speaking and training makes me feel good more than anything else. Me being a mentor makes me feel really good. All right. And then I combine that with, my mantras, which I'm pretty sure I've shared with you, of, help the person you used to be. We have to be as brave as the people who need us. And a new one for me was, let me never be too busy saving strangers to neglect my own. And so I have these driving forces that, have me look at life in a way of, okay, is that falling into line with those things? And then I also have this awareness of, this is what makes me feel good about myself. And this is what gives me significance, where for most of my life, I didn't feel like I had that. And so those two combinations makes me very, very disciplined, very consistent.
Chasing significance. That's interesting.
Up until, man, not that long ago, man, up until probably 2 years ago, within a 2-year window, I realized that I was consistent because it was actually a coping mechanism. And with that awareness, I've now seen it in so many others of me being I used to be a workaholic, where I couldn't be present with you unless we were talking about work. And so I really struggled with being present with the kids. I really struggled with being present with, friends even, if we weren't talking about work and doing the thing. And that was actually a coping mechanism of still some self-worth issues that I had to work out. And so with that awareness, I can now help the person I used to be, right? That's a lot of people. That's people who've been knocked out of the game, been through, trauma. I grew up in a very abusive home, been a workaholic, succeeded in a lot of areas, but didn't feel good, didn't feel fulfillment.
What's crazy to me is listening to all of this, and just from what we have seen from Ray, it's very interesting to me hearing him talk about helping people, helping his former self. He worded it a little bit different, I think. But when you look at these companies' income disclosure statements, when you look at the money that, or the lack of money that the majority of the people in these companies are making, the only people that he's helping, and I'm using that term loosely, that's just my opinion, is the people at the top. So he's talking about, man, that's a lot of people. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people in MLMs, but the majority of them are not making any money, or they're losing money. And so this seems just very odd to me.
And so, that really, keeps me on that path. And so there's, two types of people. There's that uber consistent hustle grinder, like, all y'all are wussies, just get to work, right? And a lot of times they're like the unhappiest person. Like, they're just a lot of time, not all the time, but a lot of times they're unhappy. And
did he just say the quiet part out loud? The people that are grinding the hardest are the most unhappy? Well, that's an interesting statement, Ray.
I had a client that I was helping outside of network marketing, bringing home $20 million a month, not happy. It's a lot of money. And so, but not happy, struggled with relationships, struggled with his parenting. And so, there's that side of the game. And the other side, those who aren't consistent, that show up on something like this, right? Like there are lazy people out there, but the people that are showing up to the events and they really have they have a big reason, but they just can't get in the groove. It's because they're fighting their subconscious. They drew the wrong conclusion to success based on an observation they made as a kid.
And I'm just curious, what qualifications, certifications, those types of things does he have to make that statement? What sources is he referring to? Like, cite the sources. And only 2 types of people? I don't think so. I don't think so. To me, this feels like affirming, okay, well, if you weren't successful in network marketing, I'm using his terms, then it's because you were lazy. But he's putting a lot of eloquent words, if you will. Yikes.
I found that is one. I used to think that was the majority of cases. It's 100% of the cases of anyone I've ever coached. We'll find either the origin story of what created it, or we'll find at least the thought pattern of what conclusion they're drawing to. If I succeed, I'll become this. If I succeed, this is going to happen. And it's from an observation they made as a kid 100% of the time.
So first of all, guys, give some fireballs and some fire emojis. There's a lot of gold in there. I want to dig in to your mantras for a minute. You've shared this we actually did a live and you shared this before, and they're.
By the way, does anybody find the crown that is in the background here familiar? I wonder who had it first. What do y'all think?
Profound. By the way, I've done a lot of work with John Maxwell. John Maxwell, if he hears something great, he goes, the first time I'm going to say, Ray said, and the second time I'm going to say, I once heard, and so I've been sharing your serve the person you used to be. I've actually shared it with my kids. I think that is such a profound statement. And I have said, Ray said, and I think one time I was like, I once thought, so I'm
I once came up to myself and said,
once I've learned this. So share with us your 3 mantras. And I want to encourage you guys to write these in the chat, these mantras in the chat. And I would encourage you to write them in your notes.
By the way, that's such an interesting way to try and gain interaction. This was on Instagram. And so type the mantras in the chat. Well, why would you want that? Oh, for interaction. Got it.
2 reasons, both because they're really fantastic. You'll be able to pull and glean from those and be able to use them in your own life like I've been able to do. But the second reason is it'll help you to start saying, what are my mantras? Like, what do I believe? What do I want to stand for? I talk about clarifying your creeds. Your creed is like it's your mantras, right? Your creeds. And I have creeds that I live by, or mantras that I live by. And so you want to kind of clarify, what are you all about? What are your mantras or creeds? Like when tough times hit, how do you show up, and so on? So share with us your 3, because I think that they're, and explain them like you did on the, I think they're really powerful. And I think that they're stuff that can help all of us kind of step out of our own insecurities into like, man, I got to go serve other people.
Yeah. So the first one is help the person you used to be. And this is such a game changer for anyone that's ever struggled with what's my brand, what's my avatar, what's my target market, what's my niche, what's my USB, right, or unique selling proposition, right? Like, just help the person you used to be. Did you overcome a bad relationship? Have you lost 10 pounds? Even if you're not in perfect shape, there's a lot of people out there that want to lose 10 pounds, right? Help that person. I remember years ago, one of my good buddies, he was, he's doing pretty good in real estate. He's making, 200,000 a year or something like that. And I'm like, man, you need to create courses and stuff, and like teach realtors how to do that. And his answer, I think, is a common answer that people would say, and that is, well, there's a lot of people make a lot more money than me. I'm like, yeah, but that's not who you're selling it to. You're selling to the person who's yet to make what you've made. And so it really helps to simplify, who should you be talking to? Mm-hmm. What did you overcome? What did you survive? What did you learn? Like, maybe you were someone that thought.
And to me, I feel like this is just a way to attract people by sharing vulnerable stories and traumas, things that we see all the time on social media, trying to find the people that had, horrible childhoods, or just like he said, we're in an abusive relationship and this and that. But the ultimate goal by doing that is to just try and sell you this MLM opportunity or an overpriced product. You're not really about helping people. You're about taking money from people, you
had to, work 3 jobs to make ends meet. Then you found network marketing and it really helped you. Right. And so, help educate people, because there's a lot of old yous out there.
Yeah.
And so, talking to the person, speaking to the person, because you know them. What would you have loved to have heard years ago? That would have been really helpful for me in a lot of different cases. Number 2 is we have to be as brave as the people who need us. And that is just an admission that there's going to be tough days. It's an admission that you're going to have times where you don't want to feel like, where you just don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like showing up. You don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like working on yourself. And
you know what you should do? You should rest. You should take the time and say, you know what? I need to take a time out here. I need to rest. For example, a lot of you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram, and I talk about it on YouTube here as well. I am big into lifting weights. And there are times where I think the night before, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this workout. But if my sleep is not where it should be, if I am feeling more fatigued than I normally am, I'm going to take the time to rest. And in my opinion, him saying this, you got to show up even when you don't feel like it. It's just buying into this grind culture. And when you pair grind culture with MLMs, it is just reinforcing, in my opinion, the chaos and the smokescreen that allows people to not critically think for themselves.
And, if you're not doing the work, you think that prospecting is the hard work. Prospecting is not the hard work. The hard work is digging into you, right? Is digging into your personality, your thoughts, actions, feelings, digging into your emotions of, what have I been thinking? How do I view the world? That's the tough stuff, right? So I remember one of the hardest, probably the hardest thing for me was, and this was, again, I'm a work in progress, Justin, but this was, maybe a year and a half ago. I was in an argument with my wife, and nothing too crazy, but I was in this argument, and for the first time in my life, I caught this thought. I caught this belief, and the belief was, I'm not important. And it was the first time in my life I'd ever caught it, but in the catching of it, I recognized this pattern throughout my entire life, all the way to childhood.
Can you imagine what that argument was like?
When I was, and I even know, you don't have to know your origin stories of where these beliefs were created and these paradigms were created. But I happen to know, quite a few of them. So when I was a kid, I was in a very abusive home, and a lot of family members knew about it, and no one did anything about it. And so as a kid, probably 5 years old, probably 6 years old, maybe, I created this thought that I'm just not important. And so that has shown up everywhere in my life the entire time. So every relationship, every business relationship, personal relationship, and even with my wife, we don't argue much, but when we did, how would the person that thinks they're not important show up? Well, they would just shut up, right? If I'm not important, then I'm just going to shut up, silent treatment. We don't need to talk. And so the catching of that I realized I don't want to be this anymore. I don't want to think this way anymore. I have evidence against this thing. But this is what, you hear a couple terms that Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's also going to be at the event.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear him speak.
Yeah. And so two things that he talks about regarding this is, number one, crossing the river of change is where you go from the old self to the new self. And it's literally the killing off chemically, neurobiology, neurochemistry, hormonal, gene expression. It's killing off of the old self to become that new self. Okay? And that is not an easy thing, because your body and your mind, who are in control, unless you create awareness, they're in total absolute control. You think you're in control, you're not in control. Your body and mind's in control until you become the observer. And as an observer, you can alter those things, okay? And so crossing the river of change is difficult, and crossing the river of change often leads to what's called the dark night of the soul. And the dark night of the soul is when you recognize...
I'm sorry, is this a business training? Is this... I mean, it's titled Alive with Master Trainer. Where does the master trainer come from? Is that is that title like you gave it to yourself? I don't understand here what's going on. I mean, I do, but personal development within MLM is just a way to control what people are hearing and seeing so that they keep working. Just my opinion.
For the first time who you've actually been, but you've yet to understand who you want to be.
Wow.
And so that was that night. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I would literally close my eyes, and my I just see these lights flashing in my head. And I'm just like, I can't take it, man. I'm like I thought I was losing my mind. And that's a common, if you look through the centuries of St. Francis, of all these different guys that went through transformations, they talk about this. They talk about one day just, totally changing who they were, and that, set them.
Is he comparing himself to St. Francis?
For very different path, and so we have to be brave through that, right? We have to be brave through that. I'm no longer going to be this person. I'm now going to be this person.
I agree that working on yourself takes courage. I agree with that. But when you're pairing this with an MLM to manipulate people to keep going, that's where it gets a little bit icky. You want to learn about yourself? Fantastic, do it. But in MLMs, the leaders typically use all of this to try and keep their people going.
And then the third mantra is, and this is a newer one for me that it was really helpful, is let me never be too busy saving strangers to neglect my own. And I realized, I have 4 kids, right? I have two older boys with my first marriage, and 2 young kids, 6-year-old and 3-year-old. And there was just something I recognized, again, a few years ago. I recognized that, man, what's different about me? Like if I'm coaching someone, like I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. This is what you got to do. This is what you're doing. Change that. Don't do that. Right? I'm just, boom, right in it. And when it came to 2 categories of people, I really struggled. I struggled with coaching employees, right? We have a decent number of employees that work with us, and my kids. I just really struggled, and I didn't understand it. And one of my friends helped me understand that, Ray,
he struggled with it, but he's a coach.
Because of your past modeling, because of what you experienced, you see parenting or even being the owner of the company as authority. And you don't have any good role models for authority. All authority had betrayed you, wasn't good to you. And so I had parent, authority, client, mentor. And so with that awareness, with that recognition, it was like, wait a minute, authority, that doesn't work for me. I'm not good at authority.
Yeah.
And so, I made that switch of
I swear I can feel the former rank makers reacting as y'all are watching this and listening to that statement. Oh my God.
mixing mentoring into that and slowly, getting rid of the majority of that authoritarian way that I thought I had to show up and thought I had to be. And a lot of things changed. And it's also, I think more people need to hear that, because I know a lot of people and I've seen a lot of people who've created a lot of success over the years, don't have a great relationship with their kids. And that was me for a while. My older boys, I just didn't have, there was a big distance, between us. And that's not success, right? Success isn't, speaking in front of 20,000 people, or, sharing the stage with, Tony Robbins or whoever, fill in the blank of your, favorite guru or whatever. But not having a great relationship with your kids. And I know that you're a big family guy, and I think you can understand that. So for me, those three kind of wrap around my world, and that dictates how do I invest in myself, what events or who do I hang out with, where do I challenge myself. If it doesn't fit in those three things, I'm probably not going to do it.
So powerful. So first of all, someone write the word deep in the
Again, the sound is terrible. I don't know why Justin sounds like he's underwater, but we're just going to keep it going.
It's not just some deep, profound insights, and also some deep work that Ray's done on himself to like think through and figure this stuff out. Like, Ray, I told you this before. I admire how deep you've gone on just your personal growth, your personal development. It's one of the things I love. I love many things about our profession, but one of the things I love the most is like it's such a powerful engine for people to really develop and grow as a person, like to really go through this personal development transformation. Those that are willing to really, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later, and they're like, I'm a totally different person. So I love that.
First of all, yeah, you're going to be a different person as you get older and you learn lessons. Oh God, I hate how they talk about personal development. And well, if you're not where you want to be, it's because you haven't developed into the person that you're supposed to be in order to hit that rank, hit that income level. No, it's the business model that's the problem. Oh, I hate this.
Yeah.
About your Rank Makers Live event at the end of October, I'd love for you to share with us who's speaking, what can we expect, why should someone be there. I want to just start with this, my friends. I'm speaking, in the subject that I'm covering. I'm going to cover 5 C's. 5 C's. One of them is recruiting with clarity. This is game changer stuff. Like recruit with clarity, because our prospects they're asking questions I don't think we answer very well. When I say they're asking them subconsciously. They don't ask them to you. If they ask them to you verbally, it'd be a lot easier. But they don't ask them to you verbally. But they want to know certain things that we kind of skip over. So when you learn how to recruit with clarity, this was a literal game changer for me. Like learning how to figure that. I'll walk you through exactly how I do it, knowing your numbers, knowing how to do it. And I don't care if you're brand new or if you've been here doing this for decades, this will help you literally explode your business. And one of the other ones is competence, skill sets, because when your competence increases, your confidence increases. In other words, you just know what you're doing. Ray, you're one of the masters at teaching people like how to be more competent, like meaning they actually know what to do. They know what to say. Right. And so I'm going to share with you guys some of the language, the actual words and posture, like the scripts and the strategies that I used when I was really struggling in direct sales and in network marketing to actually competence, my skill set, so I knew how to do it. So, by the way, my training alone, I'm not kidding, will be worth the whole thing. And I don't say that in an arrogant way. I put a ton of time into this. I'm like this big of the whole weekend. So it's going to be a life-changing weekend. So Ray, tell us.
I'm sorry, but the arrogance in that comment, just what I'm sharing is worth the whole event ticket. Whoa.
Tell us what we can expect. Tell us who's going to be there. Just walk us through the event itself. And one thing I love, you have some of these world-class speakers, and then you also have like a costume party or whatever it was. Like, fun too, and it's light.
Yeah.
It's a mode that you can actually learn and not just be so intense in. So walk us through the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'm not, full admission, I'm not going to be able to list all the speakers. I don't have that list memorized, but fortunately.
Or are you still trying to fill those spots? Just curious.
Do you have a link, or did you want me to say a link?
I'm getting a link from Stacy. I'll be good.
Okay.
A link. I wonder why. I wonder if there's some sort of a kickback for selling tickets.
And so, yeah, it's on the website, all of the speakers. But first, I think just the highest level it's Orlando, right? It's October 27th to 29th. And so we do have virtual options and of varying degrees. We have very, very affordable options. Same with in person. We have, the gold pass, that's very affordable. And then we have all the way up to the diamond pass, which those are almost, sold out. And so we have, some of.
It's giving the awakened founder packs that are almost sold out by Danielle Mioli. That's what that feels like to me. The top, whatever, gold, platinum, whatever he said. It's almost sold out.
Of two of my mentors, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has been so helpful in my transformation over these last couple of years. I've gotten to know him. We've raised some money for his research, and just got a good chance to hang out with him and spend a lot of time with him. And I do his meditations every day as well. Russell Brunson, who probably 10 years ago I had on my network marketing team. And I've just been, I've learned from him.
Well, isn't that interesting? The same Russell Brunson that has a position in Prove It, the same Russell Brunson that is the co-founder or founder, if you will, of ClickFunnels that used to be on Ray Higdon's team. In which company, Ray? Weren't you in like 11 companies or something?
Since even before that, I've learned from him for probably 15 years. And he actually has a major thing to do with Rank Makers, because it was in 2017 that he invited me to come out to a mastermind, and I spoke at that mastermind. And he didn't give it to me, but he gave me this concept, and we ran with that, and that's what created Rank Makers.
Wow.
And so it was literally, I was with him in Vegas. The next week launched Rank Makers in July of 2017. But he's obviously the co-founder of ClickFunnels. I've seen him go from, rock star, of course, to, building a, whatever it is now, $150, $200 million a year company. And then we have a lot of network marketing rock stars. We have yourself, we have Stormy Wellington, who I just love. I so love the way she shows up on social media. I just think she's so good. We have Jenna Zweigel, who's another just absolute rock star. She was a very close understudy of Bob Proctor. We have Glory Mayfield Banks, and who's amazing. And we actually put something fun in the. You'll get anyone that shows up in person. You get a little workbook, and it's got little comments on some of the speakers. And for her, we make a comment about her dress, because she always shows up to the tens. And then again, a lot of other rock stars. But here's the overall kind of gist, right? I found that there are two sets of processes that are needed. The process of becoming aware of and changing your mindset, right? The way that I like Vadim Zeland. He's a not so well-known Russian author. He wrote a book called Reality Transurfing, and he said it's a monster book, big book. And he said that your outer reality is a slow-moving mirror reflection of your inner. And so, when I go to shave, I don't squirt the mirror and run my razor against it. That would make no sense. But that's the exact thing that happens when people are trying to change their bank account without looking inside, without looking at their thoughts, actions, feelings, without looking at, because you've heard.
Without looking at a profit and loss statement. Without looking at an income disclosure statement from the company.
About positive thinking. You've heard about, thoughts create things, but neuroscience in the neuroscience world, we know that those thoughts, those neurological networks that fire and wire in your neocortex communicate to your limbic brain, and that is what is opening or closing your choices you see. And so when you think I'm not important, right, which I had most of my life, well, if I'm not important, then I only see certain choices to someone that doesn't think they're important, okay? And so if you think that no one's buying right now, then your choices will change, will alter, and you'll look at that event and you'll say, I mean, why does it matter? I work hard, nothing happens anyway, why bother? And so then this narrows your choices, which narrows your actions and behaviors, which narrows your experiences, which narrows.
I like how he's trying to present this in a way where it's like, well, if you want to be successful, get to Rank Makers Live. That's what this feels like, except he's trying to present it like this science. Oh my God. And why is he so monotone? How are y'all doing? Are you guys good? Because we're almost done.
Your emotions, and you become in this predictable, familiar past and this predictable future that is just running your life. And so that's the first process. And what I found is if you don't understand that, I can beat you upon the ears, nose, and throat with strategy, and you won't do it. You won't be consistent. It's just not going to help you. And I used to not think this was a thing, but I've been proven wrong so many damn times. I now understand it. I used to think that with a big enough pipeline, you could have negative thoughts and you'd still do okay. But I've been proven wrong so many times. So many times I meet someone that's prospecting 30, 40, 50 people a day. And you look.
It's so weird to me how people in MLM say that anybody that doesn't agree with them, that is negative. That's so weird to me. If you don't agree with MLMers, MLM coaches, you're automatically a hater. No.
Look at their scripts and they're not, they may not be perfect, but they're not terrible. But I ask them a couple questions. I ask them, how long and how often do you dwell upon the lack of success that you don't have, right? How long and how often do you think about why you're not where you want to be? And what I found, those people will typically do affirmations for 4 minutes in the morning. And they'll spend 8 hours comparing. They'll spend 8 hours, why, I'm doing the work, how come it's not here? I'm doing the work, how come it's not here? I'm doing the work, how come it's not here? And so they're constantly in this energy of it's not here, it's not here, it's not here, it's not here.
This feels like a way to just blame and shame people that get out of MLM and say, well, no, it didn't work for me or whatever. This just feels like, well, you didn't do the inner work. Well, you didn't do the work. You were lazy, like he talked about earlier. That's what this all feels like with a bunch of extra words.
And so the work is actually proving them to be true. They actually will do the work, but it's just proving the lack of results. So without this mindset piece, and I don't mean motivation. Motivation is, I hear a story and I'm really fired up, but I don't really know what to do. It's like, yeah, baby, what do we do? And so like this is step by step, things that I do each and every morning, things that have changed my life. Here's how you change that. It's absolutely guaranteed. This is how you change that. Then from there, you can accept and start to utilize business strategies and tactics. And so what I found is it's what's more, what good trainers do is they tell you what to do, right? Here's what to do. Great trainers are going to dig into why you won't do it. Why won't you do it? Here's why. You won't do it because you think this. You won't do it because of this. You won't do it, right? And so if you can dig into that and really get in people's world, and that's what we do. So it's the combination of here's the mindset steps to transform. Here's the business strategies that are working right now. And with those two combinations, which I don't see any event that combines those two things. They're either neither of those things and they're just motivation, or they're all business strategy, which is perfect for the hustler, the grinder, the workaholic, the implementer, but not perfect for the other 95% of the people in the audience. And so we combine those two, and with what we teach and with all the other speakers, we say, give us 3 days and you'll transform your life. And I really fully 100% believe it. We've been doing it for quite a few years, but as I've grown, so has the curriculum, and we're really excited about it.
That is so good. You said that at the end, that you guys kind of combined the tactical, the strategies, all that stuff with this like these mindset breakthroughs, these emotional breakthroughs, and digging into the actual work. And you're like, I don't know of anyone else that does it. I don't know, Ray, I don't know of anyone else that does that either. And it is so powerful, because, by the way, you can have all the mindset stuff. If you still don't know what to do, you're toast. But if you know what to do and
you don't know any other people that do that. Literally every MLM company event deals with mindset and personal development with maybe a little tiny bit of business training. Every generic MLM training event covers the same kind of thing. They're all the same.
you're emotionally not going to do it, then it's not going to work either. So be able to,
and people will lean toward the one that they do the most, right? So there's mindset people that's all they study, right? They're just this big learner, so they just learn. I'm just a learner, right? And then there's the strategy people that are constantly duped to think they need that new strategy. You just need the new hashtag, right? No, you need this line. And so they just but they don't do it. They won't be consistent with it. And so it doesn't matter. I mean, one of our friends, she bought at a charity auction, she bought a Michael Phelps pool party, where he actually comes to your house and you have a little pool party. Like, imagine showing up to a pool party and it's Michael Phelps. You'd be like, wow. But Michael Phelps could teach you his secret technique, but if you don't use it every day, it doesn't matter. So you could learn the greatest closing technique of all time, but if you don't use it, it doesn't matter. It's just another thing. It's just another trinket in the closet. It's just another book on the shelf. It's just another thing. And so we really do know that you need both, and that's what we focus on.
Yeah, and again, the amount of work that you've done on you, that you can then work through your things to then teach other people is it's really a testament to who you are, and it's a really testament to your legacy and the way that you're showing up and serving. So, guys, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna send you guys a link. I'll post it in my stories. I'll send it out to my email list. I'll be hitting you here with the link so you can go register and be part of this. I would encourage you, whether you're virtual or whether you're there in person. If you can't make it across country, cool. Be there virtually. But let me just give you some mantras. Let me give you some things you can write down. An investment in yourself is always a good investment. There's some things in life that are...
Wait, you're missing a part of that mantra. An investment in yourself is always a good investment when it's not an MLM or MLM based. Okay, next.
Always is and nevers. I tell people, always, anticipate, never, assume. Okay, those are some always and nevers. Those are big words. Always is a big word. Never is a big word. An investment in yourself is always a good investment. It's the best investment you can make. You say, should I invest in real estate or stock market or cryptocurrency, or what should I invest in? The best thing you can invest in, and Ray, this is literally what you've done. This is where all of your life has now come from, is these investments that you've made into your mind and investments you made into your soul and into your skill sets. And so don't ever begrudge the money you spend on you. People who believe in themselves invest in themselves. That'd be the first thing. And the second thing I'll share with you is this. Leaders are born at events. You may have heard something like this before, but man, it's true. I feel like I was it's like an incubator. I went from event to event to event to event to event. Yep. And I went to a lot of the events on empty. Some of you guys can relate to this. My emotional gas tank was on empty. I was like, I can't do this. I'm out. I'm not doing it. But I went to the event, and the event filled me up back to full to keep me in.
Oh, that's called an indoctrination event. Yeah. So just wanted to throw that out there.
In the game long enough to build enough confidence to keep moving forward to the next event where I came in and on empty, and then it filled me up again. If I wouldn't have had those events, those checkpoints along the way, I never would have ever created any of the life that I've created. And it's happened because I was poured into at those events. So my friends, there's power in proximity, getting around.
Oh God, the pouring into, and oh God, power in proximity. Make it stop.
Ray and his wife and these incredible speakers and the other people on virtual or the people of their life, there's power in the proximity of taking a weekend of your life and investing it into your future. You know, and I know how to do like 3 days. Listen, 3 days to set up the next 3 years, 3 days to set up the next 30 years. 3 days is nothing. Like you invest time. And I just want to encourage you to think about those mantras. An investment myself is always a good investment. And the second thing is that leaders are born at event. You're a leader. Leaders are born at events. You'll be born event to event to event to event. You look back later and people will be coming to your events being like, you know, or listening to you speak because you're now the you know. So Ray, just really appreciate you, respect you a ton. Again, honored to be part of it with you and your wife, and just really want to give you some serious love. By the way, give this guy some fire emoji in the chat, but so I want to give you some serious love for like taking what you do so seriously.
Yeah.
And consistently investing in yourself, consistently investing in your mind, consistently investing in your soul. And so your ability to transform and change other people's lives is really profound. And it's from all this work you've done on yourself. So thank you man, for doing.
All right, I'm done with that. Oh my God. Was that a business training? Was it like a personal development thing? The way that they use personal development as a tool, in my opinion, to keep people working is so gross. I don't like it. Anyways, we made it through. We made it through that. I'm proud of you. Thank you for being here. I know that was kind of a long one. And can't wait to see your commentary on it. Don't join an MLM. Don't do that. And if you loved this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, that would be amazing. If you want to get notifications when I upload new videos, click on the little bell icon. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, everybody.